right now. Let's go ahead and vote Phaedra out. NCT is like, cool, I'm on board. Let's do it. Oh. When I tell y'all that hurt my heart, it hurt my heart. Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Now if this is your first time here, hey, welcome. My name is Dianne and I'm super excited that you found your way here. We have made it to episode 9. Yes, we are all caught up and we're ready to dive into episode 9. Now if you have not already watched my first impressions video and my episodes 1 through 8 recap, then make sure you pause and go back and watch those videos. But come back, okay? Go watch those videos and then come back. But for the rest of you that are all caught up, I am ready to get into this episode. Now y'all, for the first time, okay, because usually other people in the game make me nervous about Phaedra, meaning that their attack on her, like them catching on to her, makes me nervous. But this episode, baby, she has made me nervous all by herself on her own, okay? My girl is getting sloppy, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that because I've seen sloppy gameplay turn around and have like a redemption arc, so we're not gonna count her out, but get it together. I feel like Edna, pull yourself together. Man, so let's go ahead and get into this video. Damn. So now we start this episode off with Phaedra going into the dungeon to go meet with Kate and basically give her this ultimatum. Like, either you're going to join me and be a traitor with me or pack your bags because you gotta go home. It's one or the other, right? And so Kate, of course, accepts the offer, but was it just me or she did not look happy? Like, the look on her face was like, why y'all ask me? Like, I feel like if she had a choice, like Peter had a choice, she would have definitely declined the offer. She was not enthused at all about becoming a traitor in that moment. In that moment, to me, she seemed like she was not here for it. She's looking around and realizes that Phaedra is the only traitor. And so she's like, she's surprised and disappointed that Phaedra is the only traitor. I guess she expected to, you know, the hood was gonna come out for her, and it's like, no. It's just Phaedra. And so they get to the traitor chambers, and of course, like clockwork, Phaedra is like, so what do you want to do? Where's your head? What are you thinking? Who do you want to get rid of? And Kate is like, this is my first day of school, coach. What you mean, what is my plan? You don't have a plan? You don't know what to do? And so Kate is hot. Like, she's pissed off because she's like, Phaedra, you've been here since day 1. You are an OG traitor and you have no plan. Like, you're relying on what my mind wants to do. Like, what the hell did I get into? Maybe I should have went home. Kate is not here for it. But of course, she's excited now to take this journey as a traitor. But she is very nervous and very on edge at the idea that Phaedra has no idea what she's doing. At least that's what she thinks. She thinks Phaedra has no idea what she's doing. So while they are in the traitor's chambers, Phaedra and Kate end up having this full-blown roasting session, okay? I mean, they are roasting the hell, dragging the hell out of these other cast members. And it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It is insane, right? They're going after Dan, they're going after Peter, they're going after Kevin, they're going after Trishelle. It's just nonstop. And see, this is what I meant when I said that this duo was going to duo. Do you understand me? And they are duoing it iconically, like from the start, okay? And so after they finish collecting their cast members, Phaedra is in a position where she once again has to take a leadership role. Now, the first time we see her do that was when she has to make the decision to send home Tamara. That was the very first time we seen her actually step up and make a move. Now, this time, she got no choice. Dan is gone, Parvati's gone, and Kate is a rookie in this arena, right? She done had a whole first season, but in this season right here with you and this cast, she is a rookie, okay? She coming in here real blind. So you have to be the decision maker, coach. So they make their decision and then they go and deliver the letter to Alan. Now, of course, we don't get to see who they chose. We don't get to see that till breakfast. So, you know what? Honestly, I'm a little nervous about breakfast at this point because all roads lead to Kevin, and that's fine, but I feel like that is super obvious and that's going to put a target on your back. But in the same breath, she can't vote for Trishelle because even though she doesn't know it, Trishelle has a shield. And that's a whole other situation if she slips up and vote for Trishelle. You get what I'm saying? And so it's just like, who do you pick? Who do you pick? You know, they're afraid that Peter has the shield. So Peter was not an option. They were both convinced that Peter had the shield. And I'm just sitting there like, I would have took the risk. I would have taken 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 the risk. Peter has to go. Peter has got to go. So here we are. It's the next morning and we are at breakfast. Now, of course, we all know that breakfast is the opportunity for us to get to see who survived throughout the night. So the cast members start rolling in. Sandra comes in and she brings up an interesting topic about how the faithfuls were not as excited about catching Parvati as they were about catching Dan. And in my opinion, it was just like, I think everyone was like 1000% set that Parvati was a traitor. So catching her wasn't really like a shock factor, you know what I mean? Not like it was with Dan. Dan was like, man, he the first one, we gotta get it. And so it was like this big excitement, right? Because he tried his hardest. He tried his hardest before he got up out of there. So to capture him was, for them, I guess, a bigger deal. So then they start talking about Peter and his switch up with Parvati. How all of a sudden he was trying to protect her and switch the focus on the PHAEDRA. You know what I'm saying? It's looking real suspicious around these parts. It's looking real suspicious around these parts, okay? MJ walks in and she immediately calls out Kate for looking different. Something about you is off. You're not your normal self. Something is just, it's not the same today, right? And so Kate has no poker face. I mean, her first day on the job as a traitor is eating her up. She's in her head. She doesn't know really what to expect, what to do. She's like, am I gonna eat my eggs? Do I look like a traitor when I eat my eggs? Should I drink my juice? Am I gonna look like a traitor when I drink my juice? Like she's going to give me the comedy that I didn't think I needed in this show. Oh my goodness. The traitor life is tearing her up, okay? It is tearing my girl up. So PHAEDRA walks in for breakfast and immediately her and Peter hug and they make this agreement. We're not gonna fight with each other today. We're gonna be nice today, right? Especially after last night at the round table. So these two decide to call a truce for the day, right? And so the next person to walk in is Trishelle. She's the last person to walk in. There is no Kevin. Again, I think Kevin was just way too obvious, especially last night with the eye twitch conversation and how affected PHAEDRA was about what he said about the eye twitch thing. And so I don't think that was a wise move to make, but I get it. I get it. They thought Peter had a shield and so they didn't want to swing hit Peter and it get blocked. And I'm glad they didn't vote out Trishelle because that would have been a block because she actually has the shield. For me, again, I would have swung at Peter. I don't care. I would have dealt with the consequences when they came, but I would have swung. Do you understand? I would have swung at Peter, and maybe that doesn't make me the best guy. I don't care. I would have swung, okay? You never know until you try, okay? I'm willing to get blocked. I just feel like Kevin was a bigger target to be attached to PHAEDRA than Peter was. Even though Peter was on her neck too. Kevin was on it. You get what I'm saying? And people expected Kevin or Trishelle. Not necessarily Peter. People were saying we expected to be Kevin or Trishelle, right? But Trishelle had the shield. So again, I'm glad they didn't go in that direction. So I just, oh my gosh, you know? And so then we get this confessional of Kate, and Kate is like basically calling out PHAEDRA for lack of strategy. Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? She's going in on PHAEDRA about that, but to be fair, or I don't know, but I don't even know what to call it, because I was gonna say, to be fair, up until this point, PHAEDRA has had the privilege of being able to hide behind Dan and Parvati, right? And just like kind of let them do the dirty work. She's been able to just kind of coast through. But in the same breath, I don't even know if I want to say that, because with the opportunity to kind of coast behind them for so long, you should have been preparing a strategy for when they're no longer in the game. Because at the end of the day, you wanted to be the last traitor standing anyway, right? So when it came to the point that you saw that your people were going to end up going home, something should have clicked and you should have said, you know what? They're going to get up out of here and then it's just going to be me and I'm going to have to activate and turn it up real quick and get involved. And I don't think that ever clicked for her. I think she was like, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Baby, the bridge is there. I need you to act like the bridge is there. Even when you don't see it, the bridge is there. So I needed her to be better prepared to step into this solo traitor mode, right? You know what I'm saying? So I get it, Kate. I get it. But that's my girl and I'm going to stick beside her. Okay? But Phaedra, you making us get it together. So Trishelle, CT, and Phaedra are having a conversation and Trishelle asks them, you know, what do you think this Kevin situation means? Sitting home Kevin, what do you think that meant, right? And so CT brings up Peter and how sus he's been acting. And so Phaedra uses this as an opportunity to water the hell out of that seed. If you're going to bring up Peter, I'm going to make sure I'm going to water, baby, those grits are going to stick. I'm going to make sure I do everything in my power to get y'all laser focused on sending Peter home. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her. Come on, Phaedra, put in the work because we need to get these people focused on Peter so we can get them up off of you. Right? So of course, Trishelle runs back to Peter and Peter and Trishelle are having this conversation and basically they're realizing that their alliance is no longer the majority. Their alliance has trickled down and they are in trouble and they need to come up with something quick because at this point, it's only 3 of them. It's Trishelle, Peter, and John. And so they have to come together and they got to figure something out. Otherwise, the other half or the leftovers are going to take them out. MJ, Phaedra, Sandra, and Sheree are now having a conversation, right? And my girl is up, okay? Phaedra is awake. She is up and she is playing, okay? She uses this as an opportunity to tell the girls, like, listen, okay? Peter is to be watched and Peter is the person we need to get up out of this house. Okay, let's not forget Peter had a deal with both Dan and Parvati and we found out that both of those were traitors. So he's giving traitor behavior, you know, out here making deals with other traitors. He already said he got recruited. So you know what I mean? Like, the math is mathing, right? Like my girl is out here doing some work, okay? And so I'm proud of her. She's up. Let's get the people on Peter, Phaedra. Let's get the people on Peter. So as this conversation is happening, there's also another conversation that's happening between John, Trishelle, and Peter. They are now the 3-person alliance. And in the conversation, they realize that the Bravo alliance is the biggest alliance in the house right now, right? And so they have to figure out how to get back to 5. They lost Bergie and they lost Kevin, and they need to figure out how to get back to 5. And so they've come up with this idea that they will be able to sway Sandra and CT to come over to their side. And so now they have a plan and it's time to put it into motion, right? So immediately, like clockwork, Peter grabs CT and tries to have a conversation with him. And in the conversation, Peter starts off asking CT, so, you know, where's your head at? And CT told him straight up, didn't blink, didn't do nothing, was like, you. My head is on you. I am focused on you, right? CT tells him straight up, I think you're a liar, you're inconsistent, and you had deals with traitors. Like, you are a problem for me. Straight up, like, no chaser. Told that man straight up, I am leaning towards you, right? And so Peter is like, okay, well, let me plead my case. And he's trying his hardest to sway CT. He's trying his hardest to plead his case, and it's just not working. CT is just not here for it. And I'm like, we might be onto it. Peter's going home. And it's crazy because in this game, I realize you find yourself rooting for the traitors, but you also find yourself rooting for the faithfuls in certain situations, because I remember it was a time when I was like, Peter is up. Peter is up. Peter is on it, right? Peter is on it. And then now it's like, okay, Peter, get off it. Like, you were on it, but I need you to get off of it. Now that Phaedra is the only traitor left from the original. Get off, okay? Get on up off of it. This game might have you looking like a straight flip flop, flippity flop. So now it is time for today's mission. And some of y'all were trying to clown me in the comments because I said the missions are my favorite parts of the episodes. And it's like, yeah, like I like to watch, heavy on the watch the challenges, okay? I like to watch them. So yeah, leave me alone. Leave me alone. So this particular mission, they pull up to a church, okay? And when they walk inside of the church, it's filled with like a bunch of traitors, lookalikes, a bunch of traitor lookalikes, right? So they get in there and the mission for today is worth $25,000, okay? So basically what they have to do, target practice. There's a bunch of little windows hanging up and each window has their name on it, right? And so they basically have to shoot this arrow at the windows and break them, right? But the last name standing, the very last name standing, after they shoot everybody's name out, the last name standing is the person that gets the safety shield and they are safe from the traitors tonight. Okay, so now the catch with this mission is that shooting that little arrow is not going to be easy, right? You're going to miss. And every time you miss, you deduct $250 from the $25,000. So it's going to get a little messy, okay? And then speaking of messy, this is a very, very, very messy mission because you get the opportunity to target somebody in public. Like you're going to be shooting at the person that you do not want to have safety. And so we get to see when you step up there who you fire that arrow at. Oh, we got beef? You go up there and you want to at me? What you mean? So it's going to get a little messy today. It's going to get a little messy today. Going to lose a little money. It's going to get a little ugly. Okay, so in my notes, I wrote down who shot at who missed what, who did this, who did that. But see, that's how my videos end up being an hour long. So I'm not even about to do all that because y'all watch the episode, you know who shot, who missed, who did. You already know. The important part is they were losing a lot of money because everybody was missing. Like a lot of money was being taken from the pot. And so at this point, they realized we need to come up with strategy, okay? And then coming up with strategy is realizing Sheree is right here. Okay, we can fire at Sheree and knock that one out first, and then we can kind of just peel off of that. But let's try to get Sheree, you know, and of course, ultimately that means that my girl won't get safety, but we're trying to get money. So MJ steps up to the plate. She fires the arrow at Sheree's window. Boom, she gets it. The first one, pow. Finally, they done hit one of the windows, right? The gag for me was Sheree over in the corner cheering. The fact that you don't have safety, like, my girl wasn't worried about nothing, okay? She in the corner like, well, at least we hit something. It might have been my window, but at least we hit something. At this point, they figured out their groove and they know exactly what they're doing, right? So boom, window, 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 everybody getting hit. So now at this point, they have 3 windows at the top and 1 all the way at the bottom. The one all the way at the bottom in the corner, that's Trichelle's window, right? And so the whole group is focused on getting CT. And so they're shooting and shooting and shooting and it's not working. They're wasting a lot of money trying to get CT's window. And so Sandra, and this is important because later on, all of this is somehow going to get pinned on Phaedra. But Sandra makes a statement and says, maybe we should go after Trachelle. Maybe we should try to fire at the Trachelle window. Sandra, so when Phaedra goes up there, she's like, you know what? That's not working. She calls CT a vampire, says he ain't going nowhere. He's just going to be here. So I'm going to try something else. And so she decides to point her arrow at Trichelle's window. She fires the arrow and she misses, right? But in that moment, it sent red flags across it sent red flags. Okay. I wish my girl would have just aimed at CT one last time. Let Sandra do it. She should have let Sandra do it. With this huge red flag being raised with, you know, Phaedra going after Trachelle, Kate is pissed. You know, she's trying to embrace her new traitor position. And at this point, she's like, man, like you going rogue is just too obvious. What are you doing? What game are you playing? You know, Kate is in her bag. And she's like, man, you messing this up for me. You know, you asked me to be a part of this group and I'm here and now you just, baby, tie up these loose ends. Tie them up real quick. Dot these I's and cross these T's immediately. My goodness. So it comes down to CT and John. Those are the only two windows that are left. Everybody else is out of the picture, right? And so CT walks up, he fires the arrow, he hits John. And so ultimately CT ends up with the safety shield, right? But in his mind, because he was the one who was sitting in between Phaedra and Sandra when that whole conversation happened about going after Trishelle. So now his antennas are up and he is on edge with Sandra and Phaedra. So whatever he was feeling about Phaedra, and remember, after that last round table, CT already was talking about how what Trishelle was saying made sense about Phaedra. So he was already starting to shift. He didn't trust Peter more, but when it came to Phaedra, his opinion was already starting to shift about whether she was faithful or a traitor, right? And so this, I think for him, this solidified it. This was like, oh yeah, because you're doing way too much to make sure that Trishelle doesn't get this, you know? And so, oh, CT. So the mission is over. My girl is in danger, okay? My girl is in danger and I'm tired. I am tired. I get it. I get it. I get it. I understand how y'all feel when y'all be watching me. I'm tired, okay? My girl is in danger and I'm tired. So they get back to the castle. The trio, John, Peter, and Trishelle are having a conversation and they're feeling defeated. They feel like none of us got a shield today. And so we're all up for grabs. And so John is like, not so fast. Because I have a feeling that we can get Sandra and we can get MJ. You know, they already realized when Peter tried to go in and have a conversation with CT, like we're not even gonna try to get CT anymore. Now we're gonna try to go for MJ and we're gonna try to go for Sandra, right? And so they take this as an opportunity to pull Sandra into the conversation. And so they're trying to talk to her and Sandra was very clear. I don't know if y'all caught it, but it stuck out to me. Sandra was very clear. She looked at John. She said, whatever you not Peter, not Trishelle, whatever you say at the round table tonight, I'm going to listen. I'm going to have an open mind and I'm going to be listening for what you have to say tonight at the round table, right? So my girl is in danger. So one thing about this little alliance, okay, of Peter, John, and Trishelle, they gonna come up with a plan. They are going to come up with a plan. And so Trishelle needs to work on Sheree and MJ, but she can't do that because Phaedra is always around them. And so they come up with a plan for Peter to go and have a conversation with Phaedra, but all that is them pulling Phaedra away from the other girls so they can go have a conversation and Trishelle can go work her magic to try to convince them to go after Phaedra, right? They're trying to rally up the troops and get the ducks in order so they can try to put the nail in my girl's coffin. So when Peter comes in and grabs Phaedra, Kate is like, hold on, because that's my girl. I don't know what you got going on, but that's my girl. So when they go off and start talking, of course, Kate goes and stands in the hallway to, you know, overhear, eavesdrop and see what they talking about. So while she's doing this, Trishelle walks in. Now remember, for Trishelle, the goal was only to talk to Sheree and MJ. Kate was not a part of the equation, but Kate was in the room, so Kate was like, okay, you in here mousing and ratting around. And so let me go over here and see what you got going on, right? And so she sits in on the conversation. So Trishelle starts in with the whole Phaedra thing and all the other things, trying to persuade the ladies to vote in that direction. And so Kate jumps in and that's my girl. Kate jumps in and she's like, now hold on. Because what about Peter? Like, you're doing all of this conversation about Phaedra, but again, Peter is the one who had the conversations and the deals with the traitors, actively had deals with traitors. Why are we just going to act like that didn't happen? Why are we sitting here trying to paint this picture as if that was not a huge part of the game? That man had active deals with two known traitors, right? And so Trishelle is getting irritated by this because she's like, stay focused. Kate was like, no, I am focused. And so we get the confessional of Kate saying, like, I know that he's not a traitor because I'm a traitor. So I know he's not a traitor, but I got to do what I got to do, right? And so you see her having this battle with herself, you know what I'm saying? And so she's telling herself, I'm a faithful, he's a traitor. I'm a faithful, he's a traitor. Because that's how she has to look at the situation. She has to look at this in a sense of, I have to get him out, because at the end of the day, he is a faithful that betrayed the other faithfuls, you know, so that makes him a traitor. And so she's trying to convince herself that she is doing the right thing. So now CT is out here stressing out about this whole Sandra and Phaedra firing at Trishelle thing. Like, it's really weighing heavy on him, right? And he's stuck in a weird place because of his friendship with Phaedra. And so he's like, man, what do I do with this information? Like, that's my girl, but I feel like she's a traitor. You know what I'm saying? And so he's having this battle. So of all the people in the house that he decides to go and talk to, he goes to Trishelle, right? CT tells her exactly what the conversation was between Phaedra and Sandra and how that led to them trying to make sure that Trishelle did not get the safety for this week. And so Trishelle, of course, takes that as an opportunity to say, hey, I'm telling you, Phaedra is a traitor. I got people that agree. We can get the votes. We can get it together and we can get her up out of here tonight. So at this point, CT is 100% convinced that Sandra and Phaedra are both traitors. But Trishelle tells him, let's hold off on Sandra. Okay, we'll get to Sandra when we can. Right now, we have all the evidence and everything we need and the votes to be able to get Phaedra up out of here. Okay, so we'll deal with Sandra when we deal with Sandra. But right now, let's go ahead and vote Phaedra out. And CT is like, cool, I'm on board. Let's do it. Oh. When I tell y'all that hurt my heart, it hurt my heart, because as you saw in my last couple videos, I just jumped on the CT and Phaedra ship, okay? I am on the ship. I am on the ship. And as soon as I jump on it, I got to find me a life vest because it's sinking. It's going down. It is going down. And I got to find me a life vest because he about to turn on my girl. He about to vote her on up out of here. So now we're at the round table. And when I tell y'all that I am nervous, I am nervous. And I'm not even playing the game, but I'm so nervous for my girl because, you know, I don't want to see her go. And the odds are stacked up against her. And, you know, the strategy is not really there. The gameplay getting a little sloppy. I mean, she woke in some areas. In other areas, my girl is asleep as hell. And so it's not looking good for Team Faye. It's not looking good for my girl, and I'm not happy about it. But in any event, we are at the round table, okay? And the numbers are getting smaller and smaller, and so it is getting more stressful for everybody. When I tell you this round table is intense, the energy and everything is just very intense. Like, the people are like, this part of the game is hard. I can tell. We are now at the part where the game is very difficult because it's intense. It's heavy. The energy is extremely heavy. So John opens up the conversation and he starts off with saying that Phaedra is a magnificent person, but that she's also a traitor, right? He was like, you are a magnificent person, but you're also a traitor. And so he goes into detail about how two of the people who named her to be a traitor are now gone. They're out of here. And then he also says, he called her fly low. Phaedra says that she likes to fly low under the radar, and that also she detaches from any gameplay commitment. She won't commit to any type of gameplay strategy, any of that. She fly low Phaedra, right? And he's right, but you know, back up, right? And so she jumps in and Phaedra's like, okay, but the same thing that you're saying about me also applies to Peter, because let's not forget, those same two people that you are talking about were found out to be traitors, both Dan and Parvati. And guess who they had deals with? Because they didn't have deals with me because they were trying to get me out, but guess who they did have deals with? Peter. So while you're looking at me, you need to be looking at your mans over there in the corner, because that's who had the deals with the known traitors, right? And I'm like, come on, cook them, cook them, cook him. So Phaedra also makes sure to let it be known that Peter approached her tonight, okay? Peter approached her tonight trying to make a deal with her. And at this point, Peter tries to interject. He was saying something. I don't even remember what he was saying. But this is when PHAEDRA hits him with the line of, this is not The Bachelor, and I do not have to kiss your rear for a rose, okay? Now, she didn't say rear, but 1 + 1 is what? Okay. And so she hit him with that line, and that pissed him off. That pissed, and I don't understand why that pissed him off so much, but it pissed him off because he even made a statement after that and was like, I don't dislike you, PHAEDRA. I actually really liked you up until you said what you just said. And I'm like, she said she ain't got to kiss your butt and that pissed you off? Like, what's up? What are you really saying? Because that shouldn't have been enough to make you dislike somebody because they said they're not going to kiss your butt for a rose. Or maybe you just didn't like that she hit you. Because even when she hit him with the line, he was like, ooh. He was like, ooh. Even he was caught off guard. Okay, I was like, that's my girl. That's my girl. One thing for sure, two things for certain. Like I said in my first impressions video, PHAEDRA can go toe-to-toe with anybody. Toe-to-toe with anybody, okay? So CT decides he ready to chime in. And at this point, he has created a whole visual on his little chalkboard. Ain't nobody asked you to do that. Like, that pissed me off so much. Because ain't nobody asked you to do that. Like, you're doing too much, right? He's doing the right things, but you're doing too much, right? And so he's created a whole little visual on his chalkboard, and he's basically like, we had these 3 windows going. Why did you decide to come over here? That's suspicious, and it makes me think that you're a traitor. And I'm like, OCT, and even PHAEDRA's face was like, not you. Like, PHAEDRA was like, not you. Not you. But then Trishelle jumps in with her whole breakdown of the situation and how she feels about being targeted and not being able to get the safety. And it only makes sense that a traitor would try to prevent me from getting the safety. So then at this point, Sheree and Sandra, my girls, they jump in and they get the attention right back to Peter. And they're like, at the end of the day, Sheree is like, yeah, at the end of the day, you had a deal with 2 known traitors, Peter, and I can't shake that. And Sandra's like, yeah, it's hard to let that go. You had active deals with 2 known traitors. How are we going to get up off of that? One thing about my girl PHAEDRA, she gonna water a seed, okay? So as soon as they came in and they were like, you had these active deals with these 2 traitors, PHAEDRA came right on in and was like, he's always attached to traitors. He is always attached to traitors. Let's not forget that. Peter is always known. We know that he has been attached to traitors. Everything else is speculation. One thing for sure, 2 things for certain. It is a fact that he has been attached to 2 known traitors. I said, that's my lawyer. That's my lawyer. That's my lawyer. Like, hit him with the facts, PHAEDRA. Hit him with the facts. So Alan jumps in and he's like, enough is enough. It is time for y'all to vote. Okay, let's go on and get these votes in and wrap this up, right? And so the voting begins and it is literally Peter, PHAEDRA. Peter, PHAEDRA. Peter, PHAEDRA. We have 4 votes for Peter and 3 votes for PHAEDRA, right? Over here on Peter's side, PHAEDRA, Sheree, Kate, and Sandra have all voted to get Peter up out of here. And then on PHAEDRA's side, Trishelle, John, and Peter have all voted for her. And now it's time for CT to vote, right? CT flips over his card and that thing says PHAEDRA. And the look on PHAEDRA's face, like, my girl was hurt. My girl was hurt because her little castle daddy, her little castle daddy said, I don't give a damn about none of that. You are a traitor and I'm going to vote you out. I love you, but I am going to vote you up out of here, right? And so now we are at this standoff with 4 and 4, okay? And MJ, of all the people to be the deciding vote, it is MJ. And of course, this is where the episode ends. I cannot explain to you how pissed off I was when I saw those credits start creeping up. And I'm like, no, we're going to see this vote. This is not where you, come on. I'm not a fan of cliffhangers. Are they great TV? Sure, whatever. But for me, no. Like, no. And see, this is why I don't like to watch the episodes weekly with everybody else. I like to watch them in bulk because cliffhangers are not my friend. I don't like this. Having to wait till next week to find out if my girl going home. Like, I don't like that, right? I am not a fan, okay? So here's my prediction for the way next week is going to go, okay? I think that MJ is going to vote out Peter, and here's why. Not because she has some crazy allegiance to PHAEDRA or loyalty to PHAEDRA, nothing like that, right? But remember that conversation when the most faithful of the faithfuls, the 5-person alliance, were having that conversation, and MJ walked in and she was like, hey, what are you guys talking about? And they're like, oh, can you give us some privacy? Can you give us a minute? And she's like, well, privacy for what? Like, why can't I be in the conversation? And so Berkey was like, don't worry, you're gonna love the plan. I'll tell you about it later. And Peter was like, shh. You know what I'm saying? People don't forget that. They don't forget things like that, right? Like how you just kind of like shunned her. And she even said, like, well, if you guys are making a plan, I don't want to not be a part of the plan. Like, I want to be involved. And Peter was very adamant, like, no, it's okay. You can go and we'll come and talk to you later, right? People don't forget that. That's one thing. The second thing, remember the conversation when Peter grabbed Parvati so that they can make that deal? Remember, MJ was the one who was overhearing the conversation. She was eavesdropping. She was in the hallway being nosy. So she heard what we heard in the edit, but she also heard things that we didn't get to see in the edit. You get what I'm saying? So we don't know how long she was actually standing there and what she heard. We don't know. You get what I'm saying? So all of that could potentially sway her vote, you know? And then also, I'm gonna go ahead and put this out here too. MJ has made it very clear that her and Sandra have a really strong bond, right? And she's like, that's my girl. Whoop. She said it during the sacrificial ceremony. And even though Sandra left her high and dry, if I know Sandra the way I think I know Sandra, well, I don't know her, but if I know the way she's playing this game, the way I think that she's playing this game, right? She's already went about her business to repair that. Sandra has already done whatever she needed to do damage control with MJ. And so they back tight like rice, okay? They are cool again. And so I believe that there is a world where Sandra could have had a conversation with MJ and said, hey, I understand that you may have a strong feeling about PHAEDRA. However, Peter, ... You get what I'm saying? I think that Sandra and MJ are going to vote the exact same way. And so that's just me thinking. I could be 100% wrong. Now, we might tune in next week and she flipped that card over and say PHAEDRA. I don't know. But in my opinion, I think that she is going to vote Peter out of this game. And if Peter leaves, game changer. I'm still very much concerned about my girl. Like, PHAEDRA, you're going to have to tighten up, especially now, because CT has switched, okay? CT has switched. And when it comes out that Peter is actually a faithful, then it's really going to be, you get what I'm saying? They really about to be on you. So I need my girl to tighten up. And I need her to start making some moves. In any event, that is the end of episode 9. I'm kind of sad because, you know, we were doing videos back to back, and now we all caught up. All that means is now I get to jump on Love is Blind, okay? Because I promised you guys that I would do videos on Love is Blind. And so that's it. We're going over to Love is Blind until next week when we get to episode 10 of the Traitors, okay? So if you liked this video, make sure you like this video. As always, share the video, tell somebody else to come and watch it. Subscribe to my channel if you have not. Oh my goodness. Those of you that have been subscribing to my channel, I love you guys so much. Like, I love y'all so much. You don't even know. I love you. 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 Make sure you turn on those notifications so you can get notified when the videos come out, because they coming out hot, okay? I'm being consistent and they are coming out. I love you guys so much. And until my next video, I'm out.